Yo everybody, Travis here with you another JTI match. This time we got Jake versus Shane. This is technically the semifinals round of the JTI. Not necessarily who's going to get third place, but I think it's considered the semifinals. So Shane's up here playing in white as Terran, and Jake's in the bottom left corner playing yellow Protoss. Now guys, it's been a long, hard-fought battle. Jake defeated Ben in game one, which was an extremely amazing game if you guys want to go back and watch that game. Going on to round two, Jake fought Chad. And Jake was doing some tricky stuff against Chad, doing some really tricky stuff. As a Terran, he built barracks and you know what? I'm not going to spoil it for you. You need to go back and watch round two, game one, Jake versus Chad, because it's amazing. But obviously, you know what happens if you are at this game right now. So Jake is putting a pylon on his natural expansion, which indicates that he's going to try to wall this off, maybe put a forge, some photon cannons here, or maybe build a gateway and bunker it out with some zealots right here. It's hard for Marines and anything to get in if you have zealots or dragoons sitting here. So we'll see what happens. Jake is scouting in the wrong direction to the bottom right, but let's talk about Shane's tenure in the JTI. Shane went and defeated Jeremy Ragsdale in round one, game four, which is an amazing game. Terran versus Protoss. Go back and watch that one as well. Shane then moved on to fight the incredible Liger himself, the Dynamo, Alex Proza. Shane ended up defeating Alex Proza and moving on to the semifinal game. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we are today. Instead of building a forge here, Jake decided to go and build two gateways, or two Protoss gateways. Now, what Jake did here might be a little bit tricky for him, because I think this gateway is actually blocking off any potential Nexus play that he could put right here. I think the ideal placement for the Nexus is right in this area. Now, let's see what Shane's going. Like I mentioned before, Shane does a very, very similar build. He does one barracks into Engineering Bay. What does an Engineering Bay do? Well, it's able to upgrade your tier list, your building tier list, to turrets, and allows you to get turrets. But it also gives you biological units, Marines, Firebats. It gives them additional attacking capabilities, additional attack and defense. Shane's going to take down that scouting probe from Jake, so Jake's not going to be able to see what's going on in Shane's base. Shane is putting a bunker on his ramp, which is pretty good because it's really hard for things to get up this ramp. Things will be able to bypass it, but what Shane can do, and this is a tricky thing that most people don't think about doing, is you can take 2 to 3 SCVs. If you see zealots or anything traveling and trying to get up the space, even with a bunker here, you can put 2 or 3 SCVs right here, and it's extremely difficult for the zealots or dragoons to actually get up the ramp and see these SCVs, while anything that's in this bunker right here is going to kill anything down here on the ramp. Now, Shane's going to get a scout in to see what exactly is going on. He's going to see 2 gateways coming down. 2 gateways generally means fast zealot play. You want to be able to guard against these zealots coming in and attacking your base. The first zealot is already on the march to Shane's base, and we're going to see if it's able to get up that ramp and see if Shane's able to block it. He's also building a turret here just in case any tricky DTs come in, or anything is going to harass this bunker. I believe the zealot's going to walk past this bunker, or at least it should, because this is actually, it looks like Jake's actually going to lose the zealot. That's 100 minerals down, and no scouting information in here. An academy down for Shane that stim packs and additional range on those Marines, which is very important. Most people do build the academy before they build the engineering bay, just so that they can get stim pack. Shane is starting his +1 attack for his biological units. Shane likes doing this. He likes getting the +1 just so his Marines do a little bit of extra damage. And you know what? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. But let's see if Shane is able to handle 2 zealots. 2 zealots is a little bit trickier. And you can see that Shane's APM is a little bit higher this game. He was doing around the 30 range, around the 40 range, but I think Shane is stepping it up because he knows that Jake is such a high level competitor. Shane is putting down a factory. He's going into that 1-1 play. 1-1 is where you go factory into, or where you go into barracks here, into a factory. Let's see how these zealots do. Are they going to run past this bunker on the high ground? No, they are attacking the bunker. There they go. They do move past it. One zealot down, and one zealot loses all its shields, which means it only has 100 health points. Shane is evacuating the Marines from the bunker, coming up here to try to defeat this zealot. This zealot was one SCV kill, the one that's building the supply depot. This supply depot was 99.9% done with the supply depot. These Marines are running around trying to get this zealot, but there are more zealots flooding in. 4 Marines might not be enough to defend against this onslaught. These zealots are attacking the bunker and the turret at the front of the base. Shane is coming down. Going to try to post up inside the bunker. Or is he going to be able to enter? He does enter. The SCVs are coming down to repair this bunker. This Marine has the micro. Shane is being very, very good, keeping these Marines alive. This Zealot's at about 21 HP, which means he's extremely low. All these SCVs are going down. Shane needs to micro these SCVs away, and these Marines need to come up here to defend these SCVs. One zealot down. These SCVs are fighting for their lives. Ladies and gentlemen, they are fighting for this life. But Jake knows that if he can get down as many SCVs as possible, that is a good thing. And while Jake is doing this, he is double expanding down here at the bottom. Or actually, he's not double expanding. He's expanding here at his second natural expansion. Like I said, guys, this is his second natural expansion because it's very easy to defend compared to, you know, getting an expansion out here in the middle of the map or opposed to getting it over here on the side. This is really the only ramp that Jake really needs to worry about is this one right here, because this ramp right here, which is another ramp, is already kind of like in the natural choke point for Jake. 2 Dragoons coming up here. We already have 4 Marines in here. So like I said, if these Dragoons sit here below this ramp right here, it looks like they are going to make it into the base. Shane is going to have to evacuate these Marines from the bunker because these Dragoons are going to do a lot of damage to these SCVs. This is what you want to do, guys. You want to get your Dragoons in here, ignoring the Marines, ignoring the firebats, and doing as much damage to the economy as possible, because each SCV that's not mining, each SCV that's not working, that means that's not, there's no minerals going in for Shane right now. This Dragoon's probably going to go down because this is a lot of Marines, this is a lot of fire bats, but Shane's really got to start containing this. Maybe building a supply depot here, another supply depot here, maybe a barracks here, maybe a supply depot here. What he can do is he can lift his barracks and place it right here and build a supply depot. That way the Zealots and the Dragoons have a very, very difficult time. This tank, if Shane is upgrading Siege, which I'm not sure if he has or not, is definitely going to be able to ward off a lot of opponents. Shane can put his Marines right here. That's going to create a natural biological barrier and make it very, very difficult for these Dragoons to actually get up the ramp. But let's see what happens. Let's see if these Dragoons press in. That's going to be a lot of loss of life if the Dragoons do try to press in a little bit further. This tank is baiting the Dragoons in. You can see that these Dragoons tried to hit, but if the Dragoons shoot from the low ground right here, that's a 50% miss rate. You have to be on the high ground here to get a 100% hit chance. And so if these Dragoons are attacking down here, that means it's going to be very, very difficult for them to hit. Shane is going into the medic play. I know that Shane doesn't like to do medics, but medics are a necessary unit when you're going bio. You need to have medics with your Marines. Ladies and gentlemen, just 2 or 3 makes a world of difference. No joke. It looks like Jake is putting up a contain down here, and Jake is trying to see if Shane is going to expand. Which it looks like he's currently not. This supply depot still hasn't been constructed. It's 99.9% of the way done. And we got some Zealots coming in here. Like I said, guys, Zealots are the tanky unit that the Dragoons need. It's almost necessary to have Zealots when you got Dragoons. And it looks like Jake is going for that 3rd expansion over here on the right corner of the screen. Jake is extremely tricky. If you're not going to scan, or if you're not going to scout, he will build more expansions. He might even come up here and build another expansion. He only has, it takes 400 minerals. I'm not sure if he's expanding or just scouting with this probe to see if Shane has any expansions out here. There is siege mode upgraded for Shane, and you can see that it's going to deter Jake from attacking any further into the base. This is an excellent unit for the Terran to have because it makes it very, very difficult for the Protoss to move in. You can see that Shane employed this very, very same tactic with Jeremy Ragsdale during round 1, game 4. And Jeremy, even though he had a massive amount of Dragoons, couldn't break into Shane's base because of these 2, 4, or 6, I forget however many siege tanks were on the high ground. And this is a very good strategy if you're Terran. Now, another strategy for Shane is since he has this tank right here and he's able to see at least about this range with that tank, or that range is about to shoot right here, what he can start to do is start building a command center right here, because this tank's going to be able to protect it from any Dragoons. Siege tanks are Dragoons' natural enemy. Now, the Zealots, that's a different story. They can tank a few siege tank shots and get close range. Siege tanks have a limited ability to shoot from this distance. And once you get those Zealots on top of them, other siege tanks are going to be shelling those Zealots. You can see that this is a great wall in right here. It's going to be difficult for any Terran unit to get up this ramp. Now, if Jake puts this photon back here or another photon back here, it's extremely difficult for Marines, Vultures, or anything to get up into this base while the photon shoots. So this is really good. Jake is saturating all his expansions, which is very, very nice on his part. He needs to get these probes working for him. He's checking to see if Shane had expanded up here in the top right, but Shane hasn't actually built any other expansions. He needs to start building a little bit more SCVs. He's working on a starport right here, maybe getting a dropship so he can shuttle some of these SCVs to a different location. Now, there's a little bit of drama that I want to say between these two players right here. Now, Jake, in an interview, said, and I know I mentioned this before, but Jake said here we go. I'll say this in a second, but here comes a shuttled dropship into Shane's base from the side here. Shane is going to unsiege one of his tanks, and he's going to move it to the top, I believe. No, he's going to move it to the bottom. He is moving his infantry out. This is a perfect shuttle drop from Jake. He's holding strong. He's holding back. He doesn't want Shane to know he's here. So he's lifting everything up and putting it into Shane's base. And I don't know that Shane is aware that this is happening right now. This could be devastating, especially since Shane's moving out. Seeing where Jake is. Shane should know that Jake's here right now because of Jake attacking the engineering bank. He is going for those precious SCVs. Jake is vicious. He knows that the SCV are the lifeblood of any race in this game. He's going straight in for those SCVs. Shane is pulling back. He's got to siege these tanks up. These siege tanks are going to do a lot of damage to these Dragoons, but these Dragoons are staying really close to these SCVs, which are going to do a lot of splash damage to the SCVs. Shane is defending this wonderfully. Even though Shane hasn't fully saturated his main base since the last attack from Jake, he was able to ward that off. I'm not sure if it was worth it. Let's see if Jake can get this shuttle down. There's a Reaver in this shuttle. Ladies and gentlemen, if he drops this Reaver, this is going to be a lot of damage. Shane's got to get these siege tanks working. He's got to get them sieged in the back line. He's got to get these siege tanks. Jake lifts up the Reaver, carrying it off. Let's see what Jake can do with this Reaver. Jake is a master with the slug. The slug drops off. The slug hits a fire bat. One Marine left. This Reaver is going to do so much damage. Shane's trying to get that dropship down. Two medics down. One Marine down. This academy could go down. This is a very, very big structure for Shane. Jake lifts off the Reaver. Carrying it over here. Probably going to drop it on this... if he drops it in the back of the base, it could be devastating. Oh, the dropship is down. This Reaver is going to go down, but not before it lays a Scarab shot onto the SCVs. Shane's economy is in tatters. Shane needs to start building more SCVs. He needs to get these siege tanks back on the high ground. He doesn't want any Zealots just running in from his main ramp. It looks like Jake still hasn't fully saturated his third expansion, but this one is going, and it is looking good, ladies and gentlemen. Jake is still working from 3 gateways, even though he does have enough resources to build probably 7. This turret is up. I don't think Jake is going in for some DT play. That might work pretty well if he can get a shuttle and shuttle some of those DTs in here, but there are turrets in very strategic areas from Shane. Shane is repairing that academy that was heavily damaged. Probe going up here to the north, maybe checking to see if Shane has expanded. Jake is very, very good about checking to see if there are bases. Checking to see if there are tricky bases up here in the north. He's like, has Shane expanded? If he has expanded, that might be a problem, but he hasn't. So it's just good to check to see what your opponent's doing. But Jake does need to build more gateways. He does have the resources to do that. So 1 DT coming up here, and I don't think it's going to be enough because there are 4 Marines in this bunker, 1 turret here. We'll see what happens. We'll see if this DT is going to make it, this Dark Templar. I doubt it, but he does have a pretty big DT army. I think a shuttle might be the best option if you're going to go the DT route, but these siege tanks should be enough to shell this DT trying to wander up the ramp. But this is a good first DT to scout it out, to see what's going on. I guess he's just going to wait for his other army to come in here, but it's not good. I still don't think that this is going to be enough to take this out, in all honesty. I don't think it is. It looks like Jake's actually building a 4th expansion. I mean, he doesn't really need it. He does have enough money. He hasn't been utilizing all the money that he's been producing from his other expansions, so I don't think it's necessary. I think he needs to build more gateways instead. But, you know, expansions are pretty good. He's building a 5th. I think that's a little bit overkill. He needs to build more gateways, like I said, more gateways and maybe higher tech units like Reavers, maybe higher tech units like Carriers. It looks like Shane is able to see these Zealots, and these Zealots are actually splashing the damage onto the DTs. Like this turret is able to see the Dark Templars, and this turret will be able to see them too, and this tank should be able to take them out. So that was a lot of wasted minerals. I think Jake should build something else to get up here. Maybe do some Zealot drops right here. Maybe build some Carriers at this point. His economy is pushing and trucking along really nicely. I think that Shane needs to get out there and build an expansion. He is going for a higher tier unit. We have seen Shane do this in the past. He'll build a science facility and then I think it's a physics lab, or I forget what it's called. It's a physics lab, I believe what it's called, and then that's what you can build battle cruisers from. He might be going into that play, but 1 base battle cruiser play isn't very good, I would say. So I would say that his main priority would be to get some siege tanks out here, build some turrets around here, and then start building a command center from these 2. But like I was saying, guys, this is some drama between these 2. Jake was saying in an interview that Shane was a lower tier player. And I think he was saying that because he was watching Shane climb through the ranks. He was watching Shane get to the semifinals. And when Shane was going to be matched up with him, he scoffed, he laughed. He said, Shane was no match for me. He's a lower tier character. And Shane, you know, he didn't take too much offense from it, but he knew that he had to prove himself to Jake. And look at this. Shane's putting an SCV into this dropship. I think he's trying to shuttle an SCV into a sneaky location so he can build that 2nd expansion. I'm not sure if he wants to take this natural. I think this natural will be a very good base for him to take, especially since he has siege tanks on this high ground right here. But he might not want to take it. Another starport coming down for Shane, maybe so he can get additional battle cruisers, but he needs to put that physics lab on the back of this science facility. Let's see where this SCV is going. Is it going to start building a natural expansion? I think Shane at this point needs to start doing that. He's building a turret, prepping up so he can build that CC over here. He knows that Dark Templars are on the map, so he wants to be very cautious. This dropship's still not being utilized. He is pulling out his siege tanks here, which is a very good play. Siege tanks are an excellent base defense. They're actually very good offensively too. Shane might pull down another turret here, which is pretty good because it's going to be able to see this Dark Templar over here. And I believe that Jake can see this SCV currently building. Oh, Shane doesn't want to aggro that Dark Templar. Another supply depot. This is a good wall in coming in for Shane. Exactly what he needs to do. Zealots, Dragoons can't fit in here, but Jake needs to pull this Dark Templar back. Is it going to get shot again? No. It's going to be sitting here. He knows that something's up. What is Jake's army composition look like? Arbiters. Arbiters are really good. They're almost like a shuttle. They're almost like a dropship. They have an ability called recall, which is able to pretty much warp a unit to a particular location. And also, they make other units invisible. I don't know the energy cost of recall. I think it is about 120 or 150. I'm not exactly sure about that. But Arbiters are a very, very good unit, especially if they can get in this area right here. Here's Shane's dropship with his 1 SCV. He needs to let it go and put it in this area right here. Jake is working off of 5 bases, ladies and gentlemen, and he is getting those carriers like I said he was going to do. He is going for Arbiter carrier play, but Jake also has a really, really good ground army as well. This is going to be very, very devastating because Shane doesn't have anything currently that can deal with those carriers. There's a physics lab going down for Jake. These shuttles are in position to drop or to recall into Shane's base, and this right here is going to be the do or die moment. Can Shane defend against this recalled base? Shane is putting down his command center. Is he going to get the shuttle over here and put it down? Shane sees the Arbiters coming into his base. The turrets are attacking, but I don't think these turrets are going to get these Arbiters down in time before the recall hits. One recall down. And it looks like Jake is in the base, and he's going to do so much economical damage. There's a science vessel, and the science vessel is down. Shane's got to siege these tanks up. Shane needs to pull these tanks back. These tanks are going to do a lot of damage as long as they can see the army, but if Jake is able to get this turret down, there's nothing that Shane can see with. This turret is going down. The zealots are attacking it, focusing it down. This zealot is coming in here, taking down the tank. This is going to be extremely devastating for Shane. The SCV is down over here. Is Shane going to be able to put a command center down? The SCVs are shuttling down to the other command center, I believe. No, they're not. They're not shuttling yet. They're sitting here, maybe going to repair the siege tanks. But Shane is lifting off. Shane needs to lift off his command center and pull it back. He doesn't want to lose this. This command center is worth 400 minerals. Jake is building a pylon into Shane's base, maybe putting down some photon cannons. More carriers are in production. Jake still has 3 down here. He can start building a lot more as well. He still has a whole army over here. More carriers coming in. Jake has probably about 4 here. He probably has about 7 carriers. 8 carriers if you're including this one. This is going to be very, very, very difficult for Shane to deal with. He is building Goliath, which is the natural counter for carriers. But I don't think it's going to be enough, ladies and gentlemen. I think it might be a little bit too late. Nothing is currently mining down here for Shane. Can Shane defend against this? Photon cannons coming up for Jake. It's going to be very, very difficult for Shane to defend against this push. We'll see what happens. But another pylon going down for Jake up here in the top left on Shane's base. And it looks like the carrier army is coming in here to support. Is Shane going to give up? Is Shane going to call it quits? We're going to see. This SCV, this tricky SCV over here and this dropship are going to go down. Shane's trying to micro this dropship away, but the dropship is too slow. Ladies and gentlemen, Jake is a monster. He is a beast. He's coming in here and saying, you know why my name is at the beginning of the JTI, the Jake and Travis Invitational? It's because I'm going to take this. There is a $60 prize pool here. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not getting the second place prize pool at $30. I'm coming for the $60 prize pool. I am Jake. I am here to win it. I am going to move on into the JTI to the finals. I am going to the finals. And Shane is trying to stop him. But I don't know if Shane has anything. He just has some turrets. His command center is down. All command centers are down. Shane does have enough money to build another command center. He has $411. But it's not going to be enough. Photon cannons coming down. More photon cannons coming down. Is Shane going to call GG onto Jake? This is the semifinals. If Shane loses, he's not out of it yet. Another beautiful recall from Jake coming down with a gorgeous army. This might be it for Shane, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't have anything to defend against. He does have some tanks coming in here and rolling into Jake's base. There's nothing here. There are a few things here. Shane is scouting out. He is attacking, but there are carriers and dragoons coming in here. Jake does actually have some units, and he is coming in here. Can Shane do any type of damage? I think he realizes that it is over and that he must call GG as soon as these tanks are done. Shane's not out of it yet, ladies and gentlemen. He is going to go to the losers bracket. He has an excellent spot in the losers bracket. He has solidified at least a third place. He is going to go into the semifinals, and he is going to be the last person that the loser bracket is going to battle. So Shane has done well. He has at least earned the second place prize if he can if he can win the losers bracket and get $60. Or there's the GG. There's the GG that's called. So Shane is going to be in the last bracket of the losers bracket. So he can still get second or he can get third. So he's in the losers bracket. He still has a few more games to play. He might see Jake again. He might get vengeance. But Jake is going to the finals. And the next game, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the games in the losers bracket. Loser bracket games, guys. So this is additional life for the people that lost in the winners bracket. So we're going to see people like Ben, Josh House, Patrick, Jeremy, Alex Proza, and Chad. And we're going to see Shane again in the losers bracket. The JTI is still alive. And these players are competing for the cash pool. So I'll see you guys again in the next game. You guys take it easy.